Hey everyone, welcome to the class tonight. I'm Dr. Aslan Bear, my co-teacher here, Leah Schaefer.
Hello, welcome everyone.
We are here to teach and practice meditation, heart rhythm meditation. Our lineage comes from the Sufi tradition and Sufism of Hazrat Inayat Khan. And we like to have a theme, and this week our theme is creating universal peace. So part of a three-part series, we talked about peace within yourself, and we talked about creating peace in your circle. And now we're talking about the big capital P peace, the peace of your universal spirit. So I think it's a good topic, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, it's also an impossible topic.
So true.
You want
How could we
to?
cover this?
Mershid says, Hazrat Khan says, if you try to create peace in the world, you will be disappointed.
Hmm.
If you try to create peace within, then you might succeed. Something like that.
Such is the challenge facing us.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's been lots and lots of studies about how when groups of people meditate together, there is a ripple effect, and we can think of it like when there's a perfect sine wave, like in music, a perfect harmonic wave in music. If there's dissonance, when that wave comes in contact with that dissonance, the dissonance will adhere to the rhythm, to the harmony.
Mm,
And so we are basically like creating rhythm within ourselves to such a degree. And if it's a large enough collective group of humans, of people, not animals, but humans in within the human spectrum,
right, right.
um, then we will be able to like create a wave of this energy. And that wave of that energy decreases violent crime. I said this in an earlier post, but like 25% decrease in violent crime in New York, in an upstate, or not in upstate New York, but in a New York area. When the FBI conducted a study with the Maharishi and the Maharishi's followers, when they meditated for 2 weeks together, nonstop, like hundreds of meditators, nonstop for 2 weeks, 25% decrease in violent crime for more than a year. So
Right.
So this has been proven again and again and again, and that's why we do it.
And we know that meditation has an impact on ourselves, right? And we know that we're all connected. So, philosophically, we have a kind of, you know, creating some peace, and given that we're all connected, that's going to have some kind of spillover effect.
Right.
Um, and we could ask questions about how does it all work and whatever, but I think it's enough to know that it does. Um,
Mm.
and when we're dealing with spirit, we're dealing with the unseen, right? So there's a role for us to just have faith. Um, that what is not in our direct control, that we can leave to the universe, that we can leave to God. Um, and I think that there's something very powerful when we take it to the universal level. The thing is, let's be real. Like, our world is not set up for peace, right? Our world is set up to funnel wealth into the pockets of a relatively small number of people, and that's not going to lead to peace, right? Just structurally, economically, right?
Yeah.
Creating vast inequalities and creating a situation where millions of people starve to death each year. That is not the structure that leads to peace, right? So, we're working against our, hundreds, thousands of years, right, of class-based societies that all have the same problem. They all create conflict, um, and they are built upon our ignorance and our greed, and I'm saying that the collective we to that, right? Like, because on some level we all have that, you know. Um, but we have to just keep in mind, right? The system only works for a small number of people. And that's something we need to change, that to create long-term solutions, um, requires more than just us meditating. But given that this is a meditation class, given that that's what we're going to do now, you know, we're doing what we can, in the act of caring for ourselves, right? Developing ourselves, right? Meditation does all these things. So we never
Right.
want to suggest that it's enough, but we do what we can, right?
Right. And it leads to other things too, like maybe it's going to lead to your ability to have the insights that you need to create the knowledge you need to like help propel humanity to humanity toward its evolution toward peace, right?
Right,
Maybe it's going to give you that bravery that you need to be able to become yourself, and yourself is somebody that's going to advocate for the underdog or is going to advocate for the vulnerable. And
exactly.
so it can have those effects as well. Yeah, but I really feel very strongly that when we are trying to create change on such a vast scale, because we're going to meditate in our hearts and we're going to just do our best that we can do, right? But when we're actually trying to create change on such a big level, we have to attune ourselves to the masters. Um, it's
Right,
really essential piece of this. I'm not going to pretend, as much work as I've done on myself, I'm not going to pretend that I have the same level as the prophets that are known within humanity and all the unknown prophets too, right?
right,
I'm not going to pretend that I have more power than them. And so when we attune ourselves in meditation, that's the thing, is that our hearts are connected to their hearts. It's this phrase of allowing the divine light that is shining in thy heart to be reflected in the hearts of thy devotees. So it's this star of divine light, like, so our soul is within us. If you don't like that word, you can think of it as your core, but like your core light, your true self, your essence, right? Your soul is within you, and it's a bright light. Sometimes it's dim, but it's always there, always eternal light.
right,
And but when you attune yourself, when you bring one of the souls, or one of the stars, one of these prophetic souls, when you connect to them from your heart to their heart, and you bring one of their heart's energies or their light into your heart, it becomes this star within you, and
right,
it
right.
expands out, out, out. And that's how you get enough power to make a real difference for people.
And it's a very important spiritual principle. What you call upon comes to you.
Hmm.
So we call upon one of the great guides of humanity, one of the great masters, saints, or prophets. Um,
Yeah.
and those qualities come to us, right? And even the energy of that being, even if they lived a long time ago, that still comes to us.
Hmm.
And because we're all connected, right? And our souls are eternal. There is a part of us which is absolutely unlimited by time and space. And um,
Yeah.
we all connect in the world of infinite spirit. So some people have been able to achieve a understanding of this, right? A presence of this in their lives, and that's very special, right? That kind of realization leaves an imprint. It affects everyone. So we're not alone in this, and I think that's important. A lot of times we might feel not strong enough. We might feel like, oh my God, I'm dealing with my own problems, right? I feel overwhelmed. I mean, that's a
Mm.
very common experience,
Yeah.
and a lot of times the act of calling upon, um, the great beings, so whether it be Christ or whether it be Muhammad or Buddha, that um, our Sufi tradition is very universal about this and recognizes that there are many great enlightened beings throughout history, and does not try to say, "Oh, well, this one was better than that one," or whatever, right? Like the one that you feel close to, that's the one, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, in the feminine line, there's like not that many that are talked about. A lot of them are fictionalized. But
Right.
Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene, the Mother Mary, um, uh, Ishtar. And so there are a lot of these very powerful feminine energies too. So just everybody knows it's who you connect to, and that's what matters. Okay.
Right. Right. And, I think just I was thinking about this, for myself, that, I've had a very personally, I'll just say I've had a very challenging last couple of years,
Mm,
um, going through a divorce, a lot of challenges. And, you know, a lot of times it's felt like I've been just at the depths of despair. And, even in the midst of that, I think there's been, for me, something that I knew I could always kind of go to, that I always had as a foundation. And that's this sense that we're talking about, this sense of universal peace, that
mm,
when that becomes a real experience, like you say to other people, okay, somebody's struggling, you say, it's going to be okay. Um, and, that's just a thing you say, right? But to really know it, to really know, look, whatever happens, and a lot of external stuff's outside of our control, on some level, it is okay. My soul is at peace, having tasted that, having remembered that, right? Because it's our essence, it's our nature.
that's
We just
beautiful.
have to remember.
That's beautiful, Satar. Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah, and because it can become very disheartening. I know we should meditate now, but it can become just so disheartening to see so much violence.
Yeah,
Like in the US, to see so many of our rights being taken away and so much poverty. It's really disheartening.
I
And
know.
and so it can feel very hopeless. And it also can be like, well, what? Like, where's this God everybody keeps talking about?
Right.
And but if you know the story of Harriet Tubman, like those phenomena come through, and they come through a human being. And that is why each and every single one of you that's meditating with us, like, I want you to know your own power, and I want you to know how much light that you can bring through you. um
Mm,
and that's the thing, is like, if we actively sleep, we're going to keep sleeping. You know what I mean? We have to wake ourselves up.
right. Right. And see whatever there is to see. I mean, it's comfortable to remain asleep in some ways, right? But you know, we want to wake up. We want to see reality. We want to engage with it. We want to play our part.
Yeah, and I do feel like faith plays a really big role in this, because it's how can we say that the universal life is peaceful when we have so much chaos? So it's such a paradox. I can't, I don't even think I would believe it if, like, I didn't experience it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's why we're here, is to try to experience it.
Right, because the words fail. I mean, the words sound like, even to me, it sounds like platitudes.
Right, I
It
know.
doesn't it doesn't sound real. It's like
It's frustrating. Yeah.
it's just all just words, and it's pretty words. That's great.
Okay. Well, let's see what we can do, everybody.
Let's see what
Let's
let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're
Full
gonna
of
start with our good upright meditation posture, and just close your eyes and begin to tune into your breath. Feel yourself inhabiting your body and inhabiting the space. and tune into your heart. Begin to breathe in and out as though it is your heart that is breathing, the very core of yourself, where your deepest emotions reside, your principles, your values, what and who you love, the sacred home of your soul and your spirit. And as you pay attention to your breath, feel that your breath is energizing your heart. That with every inhalation, your heart is becoming revitalized. And with every exhalation, your heart's light can shine forth. And we're going to work on really optimizing the breath. And we begin by making the breath deep, which means that as you breathe in, you allow your belly to expand. And as you breathe out, your belly contracts and you bring your belly button toward your spine. We often have a habitual breathing that is high in the chest, especially when we're in a upright posture, when we're sitting upright or standing. And this sends a signal to our bodies and our nervous systems that we're in high energy mode, which a lot of times means stress mode. So we're sitting straight here, but we're trying to really send the signal that we're in relaxation mode here. Our eyes are closed. We're breathing down deep in the belly. And you may begin to find that with just a little bit of this practice, your stress begins to melt away. Like a weight that just slides off you. And then we make the breath slow. Extend the exhalation and extend the inhalation so that your exhalation takes longer to do, your inhalation takes longer, and your breathing cycle is slower. Slowing down your breath shifts you out of stress, out of anxiety, out of the racing thoughts, and into the stillness of your being. Now we would like the breath to also be rhythmic and heart-centered. So we've already begun to really focus on the heart as we breathe, to feel each breath energizing your heart. Now we can really add to this by focusing on the heartbeat itself. Now some can feel the heartbeat already and some cannot. So if you cannot, don't let it trouble you. But if you do this practice and you really commit to it and really practice it, you will begin to feel it. Very common for people to not be able to feel their heartbeat initially. You can place a hand on your heart and even lightly press with the fingertips. You may feel it in your fingertips as the pulse. And this is fine. We're just looking for that signal. And then begin to breathe in tune with the heartbeat. So that same number of beats on the inhalation as there are on the exhalation. Rhythmic breathing, balancing the energy of the inhalation with the energy of the exhalation. The inhalation, what we receive from life, and the exhalation, what we give to life. And we want this to be balanced. We are here to give our gift. We are here to express ourselves, our spirit, our heart in this life. We are here to unfold and here to become. And all of those things, the energy of the exhalation. And we need life, vitality, energization. All of these things come from the inhalation. So count the beats of your heart if you can feel it and bring it into balance. Same number of beats on the inhalation as on the exhalation. You can choose the count that is right for you, but eventually, if you stick to this, I would like you to get to 8 beats in, 8 beats out. And if you are already been practicing this and you are at the point where you're using a sacred word rather than counting, then I would like to suggest the word fazl. Ya fazl is one of the wazaif practices of the Sufis. It's one of the names of God, and it means divine blessing. Ya means I invoke, so Ya Fazl. Fazl is what you would say silently. Place that on the breath, place that on the heartbeat. And so your inner thought, so you're hearing your heart beating, Fazl, 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 Fazl. Your heart is a blessing. The final part of working with the breath here is to really make the breath full. And that means to be more active with your abdominal muscles, to squeeze out all of the breath as you exhale. And then to expand, breathe in much more than you normally do. And you can breathe in much more because your breath is slower. And so your body has time to absorb the oxygen in the proper balance with the carbon dioxide. to avoid any lightheadedness, to create the proper oxygen in your blood and your brain for optimal functioning. You may begin to feel a sense of stillness, a silence, a sense of the eternal, a sense that you have always been and will always be. When you breathe in this way, the motion of breathing should be big. It should feel like your belly is expanding. And then you're continuing the breath all the way up to the chest. And this should feel very different from your normal, stressful, unconscious breathing, where you only breathe in the chest and breathe shallowly. It feels very different when you fill up your belly and then continue on and allow the breath to move up to your chest to continue to fill your lungs all the way to your collarbone. With this slow, full breath, the breath begins to have incredible power. And you might begin to notice that the energy of the inhalation is very different from the energy of the exhalation. The energy of the inhalation is sensitive. It has more to do with perception. It is where you feel the energy as it is, as it comes to you. And the energy of the exhalation is more powerful, more active. That is where you begin to intervene. Like a conversation must involve both listening and speaking, so the breath has these two parts. The inhalation being more like listening, and the exhalation being more like speaking. You're going within to experience the peace that is beyond time and space, the peace that is our nature, that can never be taken from us, because it has nothing to do with anything that happens in this world. And yet, spirit and matter are connected because everything is connected. Spirit penetrates all things, pervades everything that exists. On the inhalation, we are becoming aware of the peace that is in all beings, in all things, in all of creation. And as we exhale, we are spreading our own energy, the energy that comes through us, this timeless, perfect, eternal peace that is much bigger than us individually, but it comes through us. We have the privilege to bring it into our space, our life, our world, in a million ways, seen and unseen. All right, and when you're ready, then you can end your meditation here. Return to your space.
Thank you, Asatar. I don't really have words, but thank you.
Mm.
I'd like us to just jump into our next meditation.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
stretch however you want to stretch, everybody. Give yourself a little break. Stretch.
Mm. Mm.
Once you're satisfied, you'll find your way into your seat. You can take your time getting there. We're going to jump right back in. So start to deepen your breath again. Just like Asatar said, this conversation, this listening and speaking. Inhale and exhale. Actively create rhythm with your breath. Making the inhalation and the exhalation completely harmonic with each other. And then see if you can feel and find your heartbeat. Maybe bringing your palm to your heart or finding your favorite pulse point, the echo of your heartbeat. And then as you breathe, feel your heartbeat through the whole duration of your breath. And then if it's okay for you, especially for this evening, you'll practice until you can do this seamlessly. But for this evening, you just see what you can do. The last thing we need to do is judge ourselves or have anxiety about what we can and can't do. So you always just listen for what's real for you today. And if it's okay for you, see about inhaling and exhaling for the same count of heartbeats. This is something we want you to practice toward being able to do because it's so fundamentally amazing. And those of you that have been counting for a while, we have the 8 heartbeats in, 8 heartbeats out as kind of a touchstone for you, but you're going to really navigate what's real for you today. And if you've been counting for a while, place a word on your heartbeat instead. So Asatar offered Fazl earlier. Fazl is an amazing word to invoke blessing. And just to give a second option, I'll give the option of Shanti, which is the Sanskrit word for peace. And it's as if your heart is saying these words, as if your heart is invoking the energy itself, the quality itself. The quality is already much bigger than ourself. And so, like, sometimes it can feel like peace, for example, is just so far away. Where is it? I can't find it. I don't have it. I can't give it. Right? And so we invoke, we call in the quality of peace. We call in a quality that is big, 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 big. It's an archetypal energy of the world, of the universal life. It's actually universal. Yeah. And it's much bigger than me, and it's much older than me, much older than us. And you call it in as if your heart is saying it, as if your heart is calling it in with each beat, creating that musical rhythm, 8 heartbeats in, 8 heartbeats out. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It's almost as if your heart is filling up with it. It's calling it in. Try to feel your heart fill with each beat. It's not necessarily me that's creating peace. I'm calling the energy of peace itself into my body, into my heart. Something much greater than myself, calling that into my heart. You're letting your whole being get filled slowly, starting with your heart, with this energy, because there's so much of it. On a universal scale, there's so much of it. It's incomprehensible how much that there is. Let your heart get filled with just a drop and you will be flooded. Now you've already succeeded, so just know that. Know that you've already created more peace than there was before. But we're going to keep going. You know, there's this aspect of conviction of when you really pray for something to come to you, that it does. I'm not saying perfectly in every single situation always, but for the majority of the time, this is true. And so you need to feel, you need to tap into your heart the actual need for peace. The deep cry of humanity. Maybe you're just going to feel the deep cry in your own heart, but it reflects the hearts of all of those that you know. But I really want to invite you tonight to try to feel your connection to all the hearts of the world. That we're all interconnected, interwoven together. Can you feel that? And there's just something about needing to connect in with that where then you can really sincerely, earnestly call in the antidote and the thing that's needed.
energetically, and it responds more because it's real then. And so feel the hearts. Think about and feel those that you know that need more peace. For myself, my heart is crying for the vulnerable children and women of the world. The vulnerable children and women and men in Gaza. And my heart cries for the men of this world that turn away from love and toward darkness because they don't know their worth. Who does your heart cry for? Let the pain open your heart more. That because that pain that we're tapping into is through love. That pain is through love. That pain is through you loving other humans. And now, with such an open heart, now call in the peace, or call in the star of divine light from your favorite prophet, sage, saint, or deity. Bring that star right into your heart, into the pain, into your connection to the pain of this world and the pain within humanity, the cry of humanity. Bring the star of divine light right there. You can say whatever words you want to, whatever prayer you want to, but call that light in and fill your heart. With a star that's bigger than your own beautiful heart within you. Let it burst through you. Believe Believe in that light. The light that cures, the light that brings peace. When you inhale, you bring it into your heart, you call it in. You fill your heart up with that eternal light, that eternal star. And then as you exhale, it's almost like it burst through you. Filling in all the shadows. It's this like test. Do you believe that you're an instrument of the universe? Can you believe that about yourself? Can you let this happen? I do. I believe it. I believe it in you. And then fill it into all the hearts you've been connecting to if you haven't already. It's almost like you're giving them some of the light too, all within your own heart, all within your own self. From your heart to theirs. But their heart's in your heart now. And all of us that are meditating, we're connecting right now, making the light bigger and bigger and bigger together. for the sake of peace, for the mercy, and for the peace. Do a few rounds of who, each you, like the wind, like the ocean. Who is the absolute presence? And then let's end class tonight with a prayer. And this is a prayer from Hazra Inayat Khan. Toward the one,
Toward the one,
the perfection
action, all
of
love,
love,
heart,
harmony, and beauty. The only being united with
all
all the illuminated souls
souls who
who
form
form
the
the embodiment
of the
of
Master,
the Master
the Spirit of God.
Spirit of Guidance.
Mm.
Thank you so much, everyone, for participating tonight.
Mm. Thank you, Leah.
Mhm.
Nice meditation. We have some comments here from our
Mm.
dear friends, Akbar Kadus.
What does it say?
He says, "Peace out, end of Ramadan. My heart calls for the beloveds, constantly many." Nice to see you,
Thank,
my friend.
thank you, AQ.
And we have Shaker with us.
Well,
Sorry
hello,
I haven't been
Chakra.
able to join the last couple of sessions. Well, we've
Oh,
missed you. Ramadan and stress. Wanted to let you know I'm around. Both are in my
oh,
thoughts. Very sweet. Good to see you.
So happy that you're here.
Good to see you. Um, uh, let's see. Also, folks seem to be very sensitive these past few weeks. I don't think it's the very local, very regular eclipse seen near me. Rather, just vile things afoot, and good people are sensitive. Very
Yeah,
true.
very true.
That's a burden and maybe an advantage in some ways. When things are bad, it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And so hopefully this helped every heart in our heart and the hearts beyond.
Yeah, it certainly
Mhm.
helped me. So that that's a good
It's a good start, you know.
start.
One person is 1% at a time. So
Well,
it's
thank you all so much for joining us this evening, and we will be back next week. Until then, keep on
Mhm,
practicing and keep on bringing more peace into this troubled world.
and having faith in yourself. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Good night.